One of my interviews I had with you, you said, maybe one day I'll do a gospel record. And I was just like, Bing, that sounds awesome, So, whenever I got the press release a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, wow, it's here, So, you want to talk a little bit about why was now the right time to do it?
Sure. Well, I didn't expect this album to be the gospel album that was going to be released. I mean, when I said that before, I was thinking I was going to go in the studio with some of my favorite musicians, maybe get a couple of my friends to sing on a couple of songs with me and, pick a bunch of great songs that we all know and go on a tour, and have people from all faiths and even people who don't have faith come and have fun with us in a concert. And then the pandemic happened and I was home, just like we all were. I was on tour, the tour got canceled. I'm sitting at home and I started kind of thinking, maybe I can record some music while I'm home. So I have a lot of instruments around here and I started recording some things and so, well, maybe I can record some of those gospel songs, but I don't want them to all be necessarily celebratory and uplifting because quite honestly, I wasn't feeling so great a lot of the
Right.
time. I mean, I was getting news, every couple of weeks almost that somebody I knew had COVID or somebody I knew died. And it was just, I was questioning my faith a lot of the time. And I said, well, why? Let's write about that. So I would write a song. Then I would say, oh, well, I would like to sing another spiritual song. So I'd record that. Then I thought about, well, maybe I could record an uplifting song that's a spiritual song. So it became this collection of music that felt like a journal more than an album. And I was completely by myself for about 8 months. I was in the studio alone. I recorded all of the instruments, played all the instruments, and did all the background singing, and even set up the microphones, which is something that I'm not good at. And next thing I know, I've got an album. And I went to my record label. I said, I have this album. It's me. It's all me. And like it or not, it's an honest kind of reflection of what I'm feeling right now. And they said, wow, this is cool. This is different. So here we are.
You did all the background vocals, did you just say?
Everything you're hearing is either me singing or playing.
Wow. Wow, like the choir, I was thinking, I knew that you did all the work, but then the songs with the choir, I thought, well, he's contracted that out or
Well,
something.
you can't because of the pandemic. So,
Right.
I spent a lot of time, singing. Your wife will appreciate that. There's a lot of vocal parts back there, sometimes 25 or 30 of them. And you know how to do it. You sing a vocal part and then you go back and sing the exact same thing. And because you're human, there's going to be, you know, intonation issues and phrasing issues. Then you sing it 3 times and it kind of has this cool sound. And then you go and add the next harmony part. Some of them have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 harmony parts.
Wow.
And that's the choir on the album.
Wow. I knew that you did most of it. I felt like you had put it all together and then had somebody else do some finishing touches.
No, when it said alone with my faith, it really meant alone.
That's right. Well, the song, it's a beautiful record, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it. I've listened to it several times
Oh, thank you.
and listened to it like, I want to get familiar with it. Um, and there's songs that, of course, I love, like Because He Lives, I'm like, oh, yeah, I love that. I grew up on that song. But like Be Not Afraid, I've never heard that song. And when you started singing it, I just had this picture of you being alone in the studio doing that. And it's just, it really touched me because I think a lot of us who've been through the year that we had, um, we're carrying some things, even though we're kind of like soldiering on, you know. But when you stop and think about it and you hear a message like that, that encouragement, I think it's one of the highlights of the record. You want to talk about that song a little bit?
Yeah, I get emotional talking about it. This is a song that I had known for years because we sang it in church growing up. And I just think it's a beautiful message. And when I remember singing it alone, and I remember getting to the line, you can stand before the power of hell and death is at your side. And I think it's, blessed, blessed are you. It's like, wait, what? Like, be not afraid.
Right.
I'm with you. and I had to stop singing because I just felt like I'm not just singing this song. We're in a pandemic right now, and I need you to be with me right now. And I just, was kind of emotional about it. There's an instrument called a celeste, which is like that's what they use on the Harry Potter theme. And it kind of sounds like a music box. And there's a celeste that goes do do dee dee do 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 dee dee do. And that's a real celeste. There's no fake instruments on this album. They're all real instruments. And I'm like, wow, what better way to kind of introduce this little nursery rhyme theme. There's nothing complex about it. And I recorded it really high and then kind of in the middle and low, and I kind of mixed them together. So it's this little lilting melody that's kind of an ode to, man, I'm glad you're up there. So
Right.
Thank you.
I think that's I mean, it like the song spoke to me. It took me out of listening to it as a reviewer or somebody trying to get familiar with it. But it really, I mean, it's so encouraging. I think everybody's gonna really be touched by it.
Thank you. That means more than you know. I mean, I feel like I've sent you my journal in the mail and you read my most
Right.
innermost thoughts, and you sent me yours and you have the same thoughts. And even
Yeah,
though we don't know each other well, I
yeah.
just feel like we have this shared experience, and that really makes me feel nice.
Well, thank you, thank you. The song "Alone in My Faith," I would imagine that's one of the ones you wrote when you
Yes.
went, and you want to talk a little bit about that. My life has changed, my world is uncertain, and everybody can identify with that. This is not the same we were a year ago.
Right. I remember watching the news and thinking like, man, my life has changed. What is happening right now? What is going on? And I wrote the song, and there's a lot of kind of symbolism there that people may or may not pick up on. But basically, the melody is pretty simple, and the accompaniment is pretty simple. It's very simple piano chords with a very simple little electronic drum beat and a very simple bass line. And then when the harmonies come in, the harmonies are a little bit thicker. There's some 5-6 part harmonies in there. And the point was to say, our faith, my faith isn't always perfectly simple. Sometimes it's disappointing because it's not there in the way that you want it to be there. Sometimes it's a little dissonant and brash, and it's all those things. So that's kind of what that song was. It was about being alone with my faith. And then the bridge of the song actually serves as a bridge, because I'm saying, I just got to work a little harder, dig a little deeper, look a
Right.
little closer at myself, take my time, keep my faith. And then there's a key change, which is I made it to the other side. I don't know where I am, but I know who I am, and I know where I stand. So that's the kind of symbolism under the structure of that song. So that's kind of how that came to be.
You have your studio, I guess, is in your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you have moments where you're working on the record, you go to sleep, you wake up in the middle of the night, and you're like, I've gotta get that down,
Ah, the great part about going to the studio normally is that you can't do that. And
Right.
so, 3 o'clock in the morning, and my eyes go like that, and Jill knew exactly where I was headed. Go right down there, because you gotta. If you go to sleep, you might forget it. So, my family was very supportive, because it took a long time. It was, hours and hours a day for months, and but the benefit of being at home is, you're right there. You can jump up and go into the studio and record it.
Right, right. You have another thing I noticed about the record, and I just love the breadth of not just the lyrics that you have in the songs, but the styles. And like you said, there are celebratory, and there are some of your New Orleans jazz in there, but then there's the ballads, and even like Southern rock camp meeting style on God and My Gospel. So is this all your personality? I mean, I saw you
Yeah.
at concert, so I know it's not, you're not going to just do one style. So
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with so many influences. I mean, if you just look at the influences of New Orleans music, you've got modern jazz, traditional jazz, brass band, gospel music, you got all of these things. And then you mentioned the Southern rock thing. So there's an instrument called a harpeggi. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it kind of looks like I'll show it to you. I have it right here actually, because people ask me about it. Let me pick it up. It looks like this.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's kind of, it's you hammer it, but it's kind of like a piano in the layout, but it's also like a guitar. So you hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I did was I played that on the arpeggio. Then I recorded it again, and I put one of them far to the right, one of them far to the left. Then I played it again right in the middle. So there's 3 of me playing that, and they're
Wow.
all a little bit off. So it gives the sound of imperfection. And I I remember when I wrote that, I played it for my sister because we both, I mean, we love that music. I mean, we love Skinner and
Right, right.
love that stuff. So she said, man, that sounds like some old school stuff. I said, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, just as soon as I heard it, it's almost like you have a song on this record and you get used to it, and then there's another song. It's like, okay, we're going. I
Is
mean,
that a bad thing, do you think?
no, no, not at all. I love it. I think what it's going to do is it give everybody an entry point into the
Oh,
record.
that's interesting.
You know,
Well, that's good
um,
because I guess the risk you run of kind of stream of consciousness recording is that it sounds a little disjointed, but um, I appreciate that when you kind of gives everybody an entry point. I like that.
yeah, I think so. It gives everybody something to grab onto, and some people be like, "Yeah, I love that Southern rock," and then they listen to the rest of the record, and another song speaks to them.
Mm,
Uh, honestly, when I heard that you were doing a gospel album, I've heard people who do gospel albums, and it's them with a piano. You know,
yeah.
I knew better, but typically when I hear somebody doing a hymns record, I'm thinking it's somebody with a piano and maybe light instrumentation. But this is diving in, and I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Thank you.
And you've always, when we've interviewed before, even your when we interviewed the couple times before, it was your talk show, and your talk show was awesome. I kept saying I'm coming up to see it, and I never got up there because I wanted to be, in the audience, and the energy. But even in your talk show, you're very open about your faith, and that's what we talked about before. And in your concert, I told people when I went home, I said, Harry led everybody in how great thou art in the concert. Did you expect that? That's so faith has not been anything that's secret with you. You want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. The way I grew up, people express their faiths in different ways. I mean, as a Catholic, we went to church, and as a family, we would talk about it. Not every day, but the ideas that we believed in as Catholics would come up in conversation. And then, in New Orleans, you would hear somebody playing Just a Closer Walk with Thee in a marching band.
Right.
And you could hear different types of church music. And then, we were just kind of exposed to all of that. And my mother was Jewish, kind of taught us, it's all good. I mean,
Right.
we're all brothers and sisters, so I never had a hard time talking about my faith. I'm not one of these people who come in guns blazing with it just because that's not my personal style. I know people who are, and they're some of my best friends, and I love them. But people talk about, well, you can't talk about your faith anymore. I've never had a problem with it. People have
Right.
always been respectful of me and what I believe, and I respect them and what they believe, and let's move on with it.
Right. You must be proud of your daughter. She directed the Amazing Grace video, and I think it's a beautiful video. You want to talk
Thank
about
you.
that just a bit?
Thank you. Yeah. So we have 3 daughters, and Georgia is our oldest. She's 24, and she's a filmmaker. And when it came time to take the album cover, she's a photographer as well. I said, Georgia, would you like to shoot this album cover? And she said, sure. So she did an amazing job. Came time to do the video. The record company thought that Amazing Grace would be a good song to start with. It was time to do the video. Georgia, I said, you want to do this? She goes, absolutely. And she's just brilliant. She knows what she wants. She's fast. She's decisive. And, it was like the greatest thing in the world for me to, work with her in that way, because I'm just so proud of her, and she knows what she's doing.
She's got a great name too. I was born in Georgia.
Oh yeah, yeah. We take road trips sometimes, and we love passing that "Welcome to Georgia" sign. She
Yeah,
thinks that's for her.
Well, speaking of road trips, I know you are you keeping your ears open as far as when it might be safe to get back on the road?
You know, I would go back today if we could, but the last thing on my mind is touring. You know, here I am sitting at home, and I'm lucky to be able to be at home.
Right.
But I think about all of those folks out there who are killing themselves trying to keep us safe. You know, let's get them situated, let's get them vaccinated, and give them a breather. All of those folks, the teachers, the
Right.
hospital staffs, they need to go on vacation, and they need to know we love them. And then we'll worry about my tour after that.
Yeah. Well, when you do, I'm in Orlando now. I was in
Oh,
Chattanooga
good.
before, so come to Orlando. We'd love to
I love it there.
we'd see that concert again. Yeah, we're in the backyard of Disney pretty much. We're
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we love it.
I got a good buddy who lives down there in Kissimmee.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
right
not
down
far
the
at all.
road.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much. Is there any question that nobody's asked you that you want to talk about? Any song?
I love talking to you. You know, you're smart, and you're thoughtful. And the fact that this album, you know, meant something to you, man, you made my day. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I look forward to it coming out. I have a link where I can listen to it on my laptop.
Oh,
Uh, but
good.
but that link won't go other places, so like I'm looking forward to it coming out where I can take it on the road with me or whatever, and just kind of blast it, at our
Yeah,
church
man.
even when I'm
Thank you.
there by
Well,
myself.
thank you, and say hi to your wife too. Tell her I can't wait to do another concert for her.
I will. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Look forward to talking to you again.
Same here. Stay safe.